Shabbat Shalom. It's wonderful to have all of you here and to celebrate together. We begin by singing Hine Matov, a prayer which reminds us of just how wonderful and beautiful it is when we can all come together and celebrate Shabbat. Please join with us. We welcome Shabbat, we welcome the Sabbath bride, as our ancestors did of old. The mystics would go out into the fields and wait for the Sabbath bride to enter. And then came along one who wrote a beautiful prayer, Lecha Dodi, encouraging us to see God and Israel in relationship with each other, a bride and groom coming together. And so we join together in singing Lecha Dodi on page 20. We'll do the first, the second, the fifth, and the final verses. When we reach the final verse, we invite everyone to rise in body or spirit as we welcome the Sabbath bride. For now, page 20.
Ya la 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 lecha dodi, ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat likamela, ya la 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 lecha dodi, ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat lekamela, Shamor v'zachor v'tigur echad, nishmiyanu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, Shemo echad, L'shemu tiferet v'lithilah. La 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 lecha dodi, ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 b'nei Shabbat, b'nei ונקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם לשוחה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה יללה יללה לך דודי יללה לקראת כלה יללה בני שבת בני שבת נקבלה התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך ומאורי אורי אורי שדברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה יללה לך דודי יללה לקראת כלה יללה בני שבת בני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום עצרת בלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוכן מולה עם סגולם בואי חלה בואי חלה יללה לך דודי יללה לקראת כלה יללה בני שבת בני שבת נקבלה יללה לך דודי יללה לקראת כלה יללה בני שבת בני שבת
As you return to your seats, take a moment to turn to your neighbors and greet them. Share a wish for Shabbat. So, what up? What's going on? Nothing. Nothing. Mine. Born is mine. We continue now as we turn back to page 26 in our prayer books and join together in the Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
ילמד יברכותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ימרו.
Amen.
יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה.
Yitzbarach.
יתברך וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה וימרו.
Amen. We rise in body or spirit once more.
Ya na 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 na. Ya Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach
On 31, we continue together at the top. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day and to night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, HaMa'ariv Aravim.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Artzam Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadetam Al kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shovenu v'kumenu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'v'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu Le'orech yameinu U'vahem Yomam v'layla V'avatcha tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue on page 39 at the top together. Standing on the ported shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la la la, la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Bichamocha ba'elim Adonai, bichamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot oseh pele, nora tehilot oseh pele. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la la la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la la la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai?
Look around this room this evening, and you'll see what can cure the world. Our world is filled with too many problems, too many areas of discord, too many difficulties. But look around this room. Look at the faces of everyone here. Look at the smiles. Look at the hopes. Look at the dreams. In this gathering, in this place, is the solution. This is how we come together. This is how we build a better world. This is how we make sure that there will be love and understanding among us, that peace and friendship will be our shelter from life's storms. God, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
There's much joy in this room also tonight. And so we turn to page 44 for Yismichu. This is my dad's favorite song too. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת מקדשי שבי שבת כולם ישמחו ויתענגו מטובך שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת ובשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת זכר למעשה בראשית שבת זכר למעשה בראשית שבת שמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
Once again, we invite everyone to rise in body or spirit as we turn the page and join together in the evening tefillah.
Adonai Svatai Tiftach Adonai Svatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha Adonai Svatai Tiftach Adonai Svatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotzeinu v'imotzeinu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora Elion, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevig Ula Livnei V'neihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Bezerat Avraham. Atah gibor leolam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah rav lehoshia. Mashiv haruach umorid hagashem, Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somech nofelim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem bemunato lishenei afar. Bichamocha ba'al givurot, umido melach, melech melit umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata l'hachayot ha'kol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh ha'kol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kidoshim b'chol yom yahlelucha selam. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh.
We continue silently now through page 63, including both the prayers in the prayer book and the prayers of our own hearts. Please be seated at your own pace.
Leratzon me'imrei fi ve'hegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri ve'goli Adonai tzuri ve'goli. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my Redeemer. Son, Imre Vehegion, Libi Lifanecha, Adonai Tzuri Vegoli. Adonai Suhi V'Go'ali.
We turn ahead in our prayer books now to page 253, where we'll join together in a Mishaberach prayer, a prayer for healing. As a congregation on this Shabbat, we especially think of Alex Botkin, Murray Reinwald, Rosalind Richmond, Paul Watson, Lisa Osachi, Ellen Keeney, Stephen Bedford, Laura Bedford, Vincent Kolb, Selma Rive, Marilyn Osachi, John Fetterman, Jerry Ann Morgan, Julia Kimes Ecker, Olivia Morad, David Shmuel Ben Sarah Riva, Harav Rachel Bat Shmuel Ufruma, Aharon Ben Sarah, Gary Kaplan, Paul Osentoski, Jenna Evoy, Jonah Hart, Dana Green, Leonard Browdy, and Susan Horn. If there are other names to mention, I invite you to mention them aloud now so that we can hear all of those names and pray for all of them. We pray for all of them, for their loved ones and caregivers, in the middle of page 253.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Imotzeinu mekor habracha lavotzeinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rofeh hacholim. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, healer of the sick. Ordinarily at this moment we would pause to share good news, birthdays and celebrations and anniversaries. But I've been overruled this Shabbat by a couple of past presidents who said they had their own special good news they wanted to share. So Philip?
Seems like pretty good news.
There's Mike.
Okay. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm, as the rabbi said, Philip Lehman. It's my honor and just a huge delight to welcome you all to the formal installation portion of the evening. This really is good news. We're delighted to welcome so many of our members here and online, past and current leadership, including trustees, officers, past presidents, lifetime honorary trustees, the search committees who put in huge amounts of work finding these guys, our Rabbi Emeritus Jamie Gibson, and at least two former executive directors, Phyllis and Bill, are both here. My math says we have an age range in this room of at least 95 years. So pretty much everybody's here. We're honored by the presence of the extended Jewish community in Pittsburgh and by so many members of the interfaith community, including from many congregations and from Penn. I think we may have set a record for the number of Pittsburgh area clergy in this room. So that would be lovely. We're also honored to have our elected representatives here, including County Executive Rich Fitzgerald, who you'll hear from in a moment, and Councilperson Erica Strasburger. Thank you for being here. We have letters from a number of community leaders as well. So in a nutshell, thank you for being here. Welcome to Installation Weekend, Shabbat Vayikra, and for those of us who've been working on this, this is really our own version of March Madness. Some of you know, and I'm far from the expert in this room, that this is Parsha Vayikra, the first in Leviticus. I can assure you we have no sacrifices planned this weekend. I don't think so. But this is really an inflection point, a time of new beginnings. While Rabbi Feldman and Cantor Reinwald have been here for a while, we're formally recognizing them this weekend, and then the start of something new, building on the shoulders of many of the people I mentioned who have come before, as is our tradition. So this is a double header. We have two clergy for the, maybe not the price of one, we have two clergy being installed. Lots of speakers, and so I'll ask you to follow along in your program as people come up. So to begin, please join me in welcoming Allegheny County Executive Rich Fitzgerald, who is well known to us, longtime friend of our congregation. We hugely value and recognize his expertise, and as a side note, I think you may have won a Latka Hamantaschen debate on this very bema at some point, so that's an unusual kind of expertise. And I know you will join me in thanking him for his years of strong leadership for the region.
Thank you, Mr. President, President Emeritus, and Madam President. You do get two for the price of one. Erica and I are both here, so that's our two for the price of one. Welcome, Rabbi Cantor. We're so lucky to have you. We welcomed you with a mild winter. I know you've been here for a while, so we made sure you were welcome without too much of our snow and ice and et cetera, et cetera. So, but this is a special institution, not just in Squirrel Hill, the neighborhood that I've lived in for over 30 years and raised my family in, but not just for even the city of Pittsburgh, but beyond, Allegheny County and the entire region. And on behalf of the 1.25 million people of Allegheny County, we welcome you. We welcome you in many ways. And Rabbi, you said this very well earlier, that so many things, problems, challenges that we have can be solved right here. And I can tell you over the years, in my 12 years as your county executive, I can remember being here many times to celebrate some of our most joyous times that we have had, but also comforted each other in some of the darkest days that we have had in this region. So this great temple has just been a beacon for many, many years over the generations. It's no surprise that there's 95 years of breadth across in tonight's ceremony, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful place that we cherish. And you've also, I guess, had the good sense or good luck to have a neighbor as your county executive. That will end in 9 months, by the way, so that's because I see none of the people that are running for the next are from here. But let me just finish also by thanking my good friend and somebody who has been a mentor of mine for the 12 years and beyond that I have served in government, and that is Rabbi Gibson. He's been a mentor to me, and now that he's in retirement and I'm heading into retirement, he's going to continue to be a mentor to me. So congratulations.
Shabbat shalom. I guess we need this. So, it's I love looking out here. Rick and I are absolutely delighted because tonight we have another opportunity to say thank you to Temple Sinai for the privilege of participating in the process that led to this incredible Shabbat. We have learned so much, and we've grown in so many ways, and we're exceedingly grateful for having traveled this road together. We also want to again thank our amazing committee who worked efficiently, effectively, and tirelessly with a commitment to Temple Sinai that's exceptional. And now we get to stand on this bima to officially celebrate Rabbi Feldman and what so many of us have known from the very early interviews and all throughout the search process for finding the next great leader of Temple Sinai. And Rick is going to share some of what we knew and what we now know.
Thank you, Lynn. When I go back as part of this process, we were, interestingly enough, caused to go deep. So we went into Google, we went into YouTube, and we were finding out what kind of man is Rabbi Feldman. And I went through 67 different Shabbat messages that he had at Temple Concord in Syracuse. And at first, I thought they were fun. Then I got engaged. Then I realized this is really somebody special. And our committee was very fortunate in that regard to see how special he was. When we talked to people in the congregation, the comments that were coming back to us were kind of amazing. Because as opposed to, if you get two people of our faith in a room, you usually get three opinions. What was happening was you were hearing wonderful comments about not only what had happened in the past, but looking to the future with Rabbi Feldman. And some of the words that were said was, the first time I heard him talk, I fell in love with him. One person said, my son and I were sitting along with the rest of the family, and my son said to me, this is the man that I want to officiate when I become a bar mitzvah. And that actually occurred. So the empathy that he showed, the feeling for people, and the presence that he had to treat so many people in such a positive way came through at the very beginning and continues to come through. So when we look at what has happened, we are very fortunate to understand that in his application, he made, and you're going to, excuse me, I have a tech issue. So in his application, Rabbi Feldman basically wanted to make sure that people understood what he believed was the responsibility of a rabbi. And he says his responsibility is to open an opportunity, offer to accompany another soul, help others find their own voice, their own truth, their own sanctity of life. Being a rabbi bestows the privilege to do all of that and more, and I am blessed to spend my life living the words, Da lifnei mi'ata omed, know before whom you stand. Our committee was always focused on finding the next great leader at Temple Sinai. We wanted to find the best fit, the right match. We have found that. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm Allison Yazer, and I'm honored to serve as the president of Temple Sinai. Thank you, Lynn and Rick, for your outstanding leadership throughout the search, and thank you as well to everyone who served on the committee. Dan? We are incredibly fortunate to have Rabbi Feldman as our senior rabbi. We are grateful for his energy, vision, focus on education, and his charming approach to everyone he meets. Although he has already been with us for almost 2 years, it is my honor now, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and our congregation, to formally install Rabbi Daniel Joshua Feldman as our senior rabbi of Temple Sinai, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We are delighted to have with us Rabbi Bennett Miller, who will offer a blessing for Rabbi Feldman and say a few words, after which Rabbi Feldman will also share some thoughts. Rabbi Miller is the Rabbi Emeritus at Anshe Emeth Memorial Temple in New Jersey, where Rabbi Feldman served with him. Rabbi Miller has been associated with that congregation for nearly half a century and has also served in a number of leadership and teaching roles in our movement. Thank you for being here, Rabbi Miller.
You want me here or there? You want me here or there?
Oh, I think you're going to sit down. It's gonna
Thank
be a long
God.
time.
Thank God. Thank you very much.
It's a true joy for me to be able to share with all of you this Shabbat weekend of installation. For my very precious friend and colleague, Rabbi Daniel Feldman, and for Cantor David Reinwald, I have loved singing with you in these moments of prayer. Being together with Melissa, Dan, their children, my very special friends, Zach and Jake and Lizzie, and their extended family as well. What a joy to see you all together and celebrating. You see, for the boys' B'nai Mitzvah, it was all done on Zoom. And while it was good, being in person is so much sweeter. And it's a special honor for me to be here along with two of my grandchildren, Sam and Jack, who I think at the moment are running around the building, checking it all out because their mother, Rabbi Ellie Miller, used to let them do that in the synagogue where she served. But it's through Ellie that my association with you here at Temple Sinai first began about 30 years ago. Ellie was a student at Pitt, and she spent lots of time here at Temple Sinai working in your religious school, advising one of your youth groups, and making beautiful music together with Rabbi Jamie Gibson. Jamie, you were so kind and welcoming to her, and she has never, and I have never forgotten that. And the Winkles, well, Phyllis and Joe, they adopted her. And it's wonderful to see both of you and to be together with you as well. Truth be told, I've known nearly all of your rabbis, some of whom are dear friends to this day, and most precious of all of these colleagues is your Rabbi Emeritus, Rabbi Jamie Gibson. Ours is a friendship that began first as distant colleagues who got to know each other and then flourished into a cherished friendship. And Jamie, it is absolutely wonderful to be here with you and your family, your community that you created and built so beautifully here in Pittsburgh. And to be together with a number of rabbinic colleagues and interfaith clergy as well, it's an honor and joy to share with all of you. When my friend Dan Feldman told me that he had accepted the invitation to be your rabbi, I was delighted and so pleased for him, his family, and for all of you. I knew that he would lead you with devotion and all his heart and soul, and I also knew that you would welcome him and his family, care for him and his family, and together you would all grow as a community and congregation. And as you and he both know from the time that you have been together, he is now in the loving arms of your congregation, and you are in the dedicated devotion of your rabbi. This must also be because, well, I have a special long-term friendship with Lynn and Dale Lazar, going back many years, and together with the Rosenthals, you guys were the shidduch makers. So when Dan asked me to install him, I demurred. I already installed you twice. Once in New Brunswick and once in Syracuse. You think I can come up with something new to say? Don't you think you should ask someone else? But he too demurred. No, he said emphatically, I know you will tell the truth, you will teach, and you will inspire, and that is what I want you to do. And do it all in no more than 10 minutes. I saw on the instructions page that it was 5 minutes, but as you know, rabbis don't pay any attention to that. So Dan, that is exactly what I will endeavor to do at your insistence and at your command, but I make no promises about the time limit. So let's begin with the teaching. There's a famous quote from the Mishnah, from Pirkei Avot, Yehoshua ben Parachia Omer, Aseh lecha rav uknei lecha chaver. Joshua ben Parachia used to say, find yourself a rabbi, and you will acquire for yourself a friend. Every once in a generation, the most challenging task for a congregation is to seek and find and engage a new rabbi and a new cantor on top of it. Every congregation wants a rabbi who is wise, caring, never ages beyond 40, but possesses 25 years of experience, works tirelessly 24/6, and in some cases 24/7, is always accessible to every member of the congregation, and makes lots of time for his family. We all want a rabbi who can do it all, teach, preach, pastor, and who still finds time for personal study so that the rabbi can continue to learn as well. And in today's world, the rabbi also has to be tech savvy, Zoom smart, and gifted in the art of financial development. That's code for knowing how to raise shekels. Now, Joshua ben Parachia didn't mention any of those things in his statement in Pirkei Avot. He simply said, find yourself a rav, a rabbi, and in turn, you will acquire for yourself a friend. I hope that all of us here have been blessed to have been touched spiritually and religiously by at least one or more rabbis. My teacher, Danny Siegel, has often said, if you want to know about a person, ask that person this question: who is your rabbi? From the answer, you will learn a lot about that person. For many here, the answer might be Rabbi Aaron Elson or Rabbi Jamie Gibson. For others, your rabbi might have been the rabbi who guided you during your youth, or at camp, or the Hillel rabbi, or maybe your family had a special relationship with a wonderful special rabbi. These are all people who have walked with you on your life's journey and helped you to navigate through life in a world that sometimes makes no sense, at times is frightening, and can even challenge us to the core. Yes, Ben Parachia encourages us to find a rabbi. Don't pick a rabbi, but rather seek out and select a rabbi whose values are the values you want to share, whose leadership is articulated not just by words, but by deeds. A rabbi who you are proud to say is my teacher, my guide, my mentor, my friend. Now, Ben Parachia picked the word for friend. He picked chaver. There are many Hebrew words for friend, but chaver is a special kind of friend. Chaver comes from the Hebrew letters chet, bet, resh. These root letters meaning to be bound together, like a cord, into a knot that unites two beings, protects them, strengthens them, and can even save them. That is a chaver, a person who is there for you when you are in need, a person who cares not about your pocketbook, but about your soul. A chaver is one who stands by your side, has your back, who sits with you in times of distress or pain or loss, and who celebrates with you in time of joy. Seek out a rabbi and find yourself a chaver. Dan Feldman is a rabbi, a good rabbi, a wonderful rabbi. Dan Feldman is also chaver, cherished friend, a man who believes in strong relationships, whose loyalty is beyond measure, and whose care for others is profound. I know, because from the day that he and I met in a small interview room in Los Angeles, he has been my chaver, my friend. And that friendship is one that both he and I hold precious. Now, I don't want to suggest that Dan is a man without faults. Oh, you know. He truly believes that the best corn in the world is grown in Nebraska. He still believes that great football teams have red in their uniforms. But let me tell you how smart he is. He pursued Melissa until she said yes, and he has been guided by her love for him and their family ever since. He has instilled a profound sense of civic responsibility and leadership into the hearts of his children, a gift that he got from his father and mother, a gift that he now shares with all of you. He has a quirky fascination with old cars, and with new ones too. His love for the Jewish and democratic state of Israel is unconditional, and he shares that with you as well. Dan is deeply connected to the past, to our tradition. He's wearing his grandfather's tallis. He possesses profound respect for the generations that preceded him. At the same time, he understands the notion that the past is prelude to future. And he is fully aware that we are living in a time of transition in America, in Israel, in the entire world. The printing press changed the world. Electricity meant new inventions, more light and less darkness. The Industrial Revolution came, and so too the revolution in technology, and now an AI revolution as well. All that has significance for Jewish life, and we haven't even begun to seriously consider what it all means and what the ramifications of all that will be. Now, he may not tell you this, but I will. Your rabbi has been involved for nearly a year with a group of colleagues in bringing together rabbis, Jewish professionals, and lay leaders to begin to ask questions about our future. What does it mean to be a Reformed Jew in the 21st century? What makes Reformed Judaism compelling in our lives, in our identity formation, and so much more? We will gather in New York City for 2 days in the end of May. I hope that some of you will join him and me and so many others who will be there together. I grew up in Rochester, New York. It was home to one of the most exciting and inventive companies in America, a company called Eastman Kodak. All of my friends dreamed of working for Kodak just like their fathers did. As you know, Kodak invented rolled film. You may not know this, but Kodak also invented digital photography, only it chose not to market it. Today, Kodak is all but gone. You drive through the city, you see large buildings and empty parking lots. I tell you that because your congregation, almost all Jewish congregations in America, are at an inflection point. We can be great engines for Jewish renewal in an ever-changing world, or we can become like Kodak. With that in mind, I propose for you, your consideration, 10 truths for congregations for the 21st century. I hope that you and your rabbi will study them, argue about them, be challenged by them, and then respond to them. And here they are. Number one, it's a synagogue, not a business. Number two, the synagogue constantly creates a new vision for itself and of itself. Three, a synagogue must be a place, it must become a place where members grow and change. If they stay the same, the synagogue will die. Four, the roles of spiritual leaders must also change, just as the roles of leaders elsewhere are changing. And without effective new leadership, there will be no future. Five, a synagogue building is a reflection of how the members feel about their temple. It sends a powerful message to visitors and potential members. I can tell you that from the moment that I walked in here, I knew that you are immensely proud of your temple. It's reflected in every place where my feet took me, and especially here in this sanctuary. Six, spiritual growth only takes place where people are open and willing to be vulnerable. Seven, in a place where adults do not learn Torah, children do not learn Torah either. Eight, leaders lead. They don't take surveys. Nine, I like that one too. Nine, it's not about money. It's about investing in your hearts and souls and minds to build a future for you, your children, and all those to come in the days ahead. And number 10, if you want the divine presence to dwell in your midst, then you have to create a place that is worthy of the divine. To all of you, Temple Sinai and the Pittsburgh Jewish community, enjoy your new rabbi together with your new cantor. Celebrate the beginning of the future. Take Rabbi Feldman and Cantor Reinwald into your arms and your hearts, and let each of them become your chaver. Yes, your rabbi, your cantor, but most of all, your friend. And then together with them, create a future worthy of the divine. Now, it's my honor. If you would, I'd like to call upon Rabbi Feldman and Melissa and their children and the members of their family to come join me here on the bima.
Hey, Lizzie.
There's Lizzie. She doesn't want to come up? Okay. In the time of antiquity and ever since, whenever the priestly benediction would be recited, at the end of each blessing, the congregation would not respond with amen, but would respond instead with the words, Ken Yehi Ratzon. So may it be God's will. So I invite you at the end of each of the threefold benediction to say with me, Ken Yehi Ratzon. And now I get to do this personally in your presence, not just via Zoom. I couldn't be more delighted. Dan and Melissa, and Dick and Carol, and all the members of your family, and beautiful, beautiful Feldman kids. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you, and we say, Yo'er Adonai panav elecha v'yechuneka. May God let a countenance shine down and be placed over all of you in everything that you do. And we all say,
Can you hear us?
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Rabbi Dan Feldman, as you lead this congregation, Temple Sinai, into the future with your love, with your heart, with your mind, and with your soul, and together with your family, may God lift up that countenance and give to you and all of your loved ones the most precious of gifts, the gift of peace, the gift of good health, and the gift of rich fulfillment every single day of your life. And we say together, Ken Yehi Ratzon. Mazel tov. Mazel tov.
According to Philip, I'm supposed to follow that, right? And I have 2 minutes and 26 seconds to do it. Let me begin by saying thank you. Thank you to you, Bennett, to Rabbi Miller, who has been my teacher for almost 20 years now, and who has guided me, who has been a friend to me. Let me thank my wife and my children. Lizzie, that means you. And Zach and Jake too. So much of what I do is for the three of you and your generation. What you guys don't know is that when I come here every day, what's foremost in my mind is the three of you and your generation and what's going to be good for you and how this complicated, beautiful, wonderful tradition that we inherited can somehow make sense and be a guidepost for you the way it has been for me. The challenge is real. There are days when it's easy to see the connections. There are days when I have to study a little harder. But I'm surrounded by wonderful folks. I'm surrounded by a staff of extraordinary people, most of whom are here tonight hiding in the corners because they're afraid of being called up here. But they know who they are, and they are extraordinary people, each and every one of them. And I am blessed to be with a congregation of learners, a congregation of people who see the world and say, how can I make it better? What can I do to leave the world a little better than I found it? How can I find more connections for myself and for others? Each of you are an inspiration for me, and it is my humble honor to be with you and to serve you and to walk with you for what I hope will be a few decades into the future. My thanks to Jamie Gibson, an emeritus rabbi who has a heart of gold, who has done everything in his power to make my glide into Temple Sinai as smooth as humanly possible. Our friendship is one that I treasure, and I look forward to it growing. And I know we might be out of breakfast places in the Strip, but there's a whole city out there to explore, and we'll find new places. Most of all, I thank God for this blessing, for the blessing of being able to be a part of such a community, to be a part of the Jewish people, to be a part of humanity at a time when so much good is possible. Together, we really can make the world more whole. We really can engage in tikkun olam and create for each of us a better place. Rabbi Miller mentioned my talit. It's actually not my grandfather's, it's my great-grandfather's talit. It's a talit that he brought with him from Ukraine when he came to America about 125 years ago, give or take. I've thought about this talit a lot this last year. I've thanked God that he took that trip that he took and that he brought this talit with him. I take this out only on special occasions. I wore it when I was installed. I wore it when I was ordained a rabbi. It was the chuppah that Melissa and I stood under when we were married. Each of our children were swaddled in it when they were born. My siblings were married under this same talit, and my nieces and nephews were swaddled in it. and at my children's B'nai Mitzvah and at my nieces and nephews, they were blessed wearing this same talit. We do it not because this particular talit has such wonderful tradition or even comfort, it's heavy as can be, but because I know that when I pull the tzitzit together and wrap them around my finger and give them a kiss, I am connecting with generations past and future, and that in the threads of this talit is everything I need to remind myself of why I'm doing what I'm doing and what I yet hope for the future. And so I look forward to celebrating with you. I look forward to wearing this talit again with you. And most of all, I thank you.
It's my pleasure to call forward our Temple Sinai choir members as we share this song of blessing with words by our very own Rabbi Feldman, music by Joe Eglash, Hakehal Shalanu, our community, a blessing for our community.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Ooh, that was a little louder than I thought. My name's Elizabeth Kalura, and I, together with Rick Calson, co-chaired the search committee that brought Cantor Reinwald to us. Rick, unfortunately, wasn't able to be here tonight, so I'll be speaking for both of us. I promise not to talk for more than 20 minutes, but I'm a lawyer, so sometimes you never know. Anyway, so back when we were beginning the process of searching for a cantor, the congregation, I think, had been a little bit of transitioned out. We had been going through the process of bringing in a new rabbi. We'd gone through the interim rabbi process. Then it was time to bring in a new cantor, and we also had to go through all of the transitions that were involved with COVID. And Her Highness Allison Yeazer called me up and said, "I have a project for you." And I said, okay. And she said, "I would like you to co-chair the cantorial search committee," which I thought was an interesting choice because even though I've been surrounded by Jewish music my entire life, my knowledge of Jewish music was that there's Debbie Friedman, who wrote a bunch of Jewish songs, and then I assumed all the rest of our Jewish music was like in a songbook under Moses' elbow as he came down with the tablets. I didn't know that it wasn't how it went. There's lots of composers. I didn't know any of that. So anyway, I don't really know much about Jewish music, and Rick may, I don't know, but I thought this will be interesting. But because Rick and I are both lawyers, we are good at, solving problems, keeping things running, working through disputes, and maybe because I personally, didn't have those strong feelings about the music itself, maybe that helped move things along. Because if there's one thing that really has a strong place in our temple's culture, it is music. We put together our search committee and tried to draw from as many different areas of the congregation as possible. We tried our best, nothing's perfect, but I do think that we did have a pretty broad scope of people participating in the committee. And what was a big challenge at the time was that when we really got into the interview process, it was that sort of in-between COVID time where we weren't all shut down anymore, but things were starting to open. It would open a little, you take a step back, then you'd be shut down again, and we were really in uncharted territory when it came to making these plans. And so we tried our best to make the in-person interview process as open as possible and involve as many people as possible. And we invited basically every group in the congregation. And what was really beautiful to see was the number of people who weren't, part of the committee, they're part of the congregation, who would come and spend hours and hours and hours here meeting candidates, getting to know people, and really investing their time in the process. In all this process, we had also a tremendous amount of help from Ellen Keeney and from Drew and Jan Barkley. They were not formal members of the committee, but they did so much legwork and devoted so many hours to this process. So in addition to the committee members, I want to thank them as well. Now, ultimately, we had David Reinwald come to us and brought his beautiful voice, and everyone that we had talked to from congregations he had served at in the past or had known him had said what a nice and genuine person he is, how well he works with the B'nai Mitzvah students, what a beautiful voice he has, and just all said very positive things about him. And he came and did a beautiful presentation, and we all really loved him. And, I know it's supposed to be super secret about all of our decision making, but I am going to share the one piece of feedback that really sealed my decision that I thought David Reinwald was the greatest cantor. I talked to Ellen after she worked with him, and she said, he is the real deal. She loved working with him. She said he was a delight to work with. He just made performing together so joyful. And so, I loved hearing that. So, he decided to come here, and I could not be more happy, and I think you would see that from all of the members of our congregation. When you see him working together with the choir, they are so glad to be working with him. They have such a great rapport together. They all make beautiful music together. And I think that he has great chemistry with our Rabbi Dan Fellman as well, that even though it's kind of ironic that Cantor Reinwald's career is built on making beautiful sound, but he is also the more quiet part of the two of them. But even though he's somewhat quiet in presence, he's very thoughtful, and he's very, I'm very happy he's very well organized. He's always on time. And he's just a lovely presence in our congregation. And I can tell you, as a parent who's working through the bat mitzvah process with, as what I'm sure you can understand, is an always cooperative and delightful nearly 13-year-old, he has made the bat mitzvah preparation process such a wonderful thing. My daughter actually really enjoys studying with him and is excited to learn new things. She's proud of how she's learning each new part to her Torah portion, and that's all a credit to Cantor Reinwald and the energy and joy that he brings working together with these students. One last thing I want to say is, if you have not yet been to a Tot Shabbat, you should drop in sometime, even if you don't have Tots, to see the energy that he brings to working together and singing with those children. It's really a beautiful experience. So thank you very much, Cantor Reinwald, for coming to our congregation and bringing all of your beautiful music and bringing all of your joy. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Rick Halson, who unfortunately can't be with us. Thank you to all the members of their committee and everyone who helped out, whether or not they were formal members. The outcome was fantastic. And as you said, the circumstances were difficult. If you were at the dinner, you already know that I'm Steve German, and I'm the first vice president of Temple Sinai. Cantor Reinwald, would you join me? Hi. I'm here tonight to press the urgent question, how many Jews does it take to install a cantor? Seriously, the search for our new cantor was troubled. The circumstances were very difficult, and as some of you know, it went into extra innings. So once the choice had been made, a lot of the congregation were looking forward very expectantly. We've been through a lot. And I think that Cantor Reinwald demonstrated at his very first Shabbat that the outcome was indeed good. And if there was any doubt over the coming Sabbaths and the incredibly powerful and moving high holiday season that Cantor Reinwald co-led with Rabbi Feldman, any doubt that we had made a superb choice should have been gone. But if anyone was still in doubt after all that, 3 weeks ago, we had a Purim spiel. And I assure you that everyone is now satisfied with our choice. Cantor Reinwald is not just a beautiful voice, although he is a beautiful voice. He is, as you said, the real deal. I would like to think, and I think we would all like to think, that Cantor Reinwald embodies the spirit of Temple Sinai. It's not just a performance. His music helps to bring us all together. So having said that, it is my honor on behalf of the board and the membership of Temple Sinai to install you as our new cantor. Thank you. Now, we are delighted to be joined by Cantor David Serkin-Poole. Cantor Serkin-Poole recently retired after 40 years at Temple B'nai Torah in Bellevue, Washington, where he remains active as Cantor Emeritus. He has known Cantor Reinwald since before Cantor Reinwald was Cantor Reinwald. And he assures us that we are in excellent musical hands. We're now going to invite Cantor Sirkin Poole to come forward and explain to us why we are indeed in excellent musical hands.
This has been an amazing experience, and I want to say a holy experience this last couple of days. I say that very intentionally. It's a hard word sometimes to figure out. I'll talk about it in a minute. But to our rabbis, thank you for being such good buddies over there on stage right. Appreciate it. My new friends. And to the whole congregation, thank you for having me here. I especially want to thank your family, sitting here in the front row, because I witnessed, it's hard to know, Kedusha, holiness. It's a hard concept to get. What is holy? It's so amorphous out there. And I had a teacher once that said, when one looks at the other and blesses the other, and each bless each other, like your family does, every second when we're sitting at the tables or arguing or discussing or whatever, remember things, what happens between the two, you're always blessing each other and reminding you how loved you are. And I think your friends and colleagues also feel that way, but especially from your family. And that blessing, what happens in between the two people, that's where holiness occurs. And I got to sit with your family a little bit and touch a little bit of that holiness of your beautiful family. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that part of your life. And the people around you, and the special people, there were others at the table too. Really, it was an honor to be in that moment. It's an honor to be here on this suspicious occasion, installing you here at Sinai, Temple Sinai. In Hebrew, we use the word bracha for a blessing. Hebrew scholars believe that the word probably came from the ancient Akkadian language, North Africa, where the word baraka was its root. You can kind of hear baraka, bracha, baruch, all of those words, mevorach. Akkadians used the word baraka to denote what they called the essence of life. Deepest essence of life. David, you are, and you conduct yourself in every fiber of your expression with holiness and dignity, that all who know you respect and admire you, your friends, your colleagues. You are so respected by the others in your profession and our profession. In the ACC, you are not only a part of it, but a leader amongst leaders. And your friends and your colleagues know this about you. You bring great honor to this congregation to have Cantor David Weinwald here. So I would say, I could say, no bracha, no blessing is really needed, because you already have it. The presence of everybody here, these rabbis and your dignitaries, this is the blessing here. As I've had the privilege to know you for only a couple of decades, your presence with the people you serve and your close loved ones know that you are. Every time you speak, every time you sing and engage with others, you are bracha incarnate. So today, with the support of everyone here, all who know you, all who love you, I will offer these ancient words said by the Kohanim, the priests of old. Pray that these sentiments continue. In a moment, I'll chant it in Hebrew. We say in words that are said by so many, in so many places. It says, may God bless you and keep you. May God's countenance shine upon you and be gracious to you. And the divine face of Adonai be upon you, in you, and all around you, and give you and all who know you peace. I ask you, the family, please stand with me. Just stand up there right where you are. His family, please, and his loved one. There you go. So you'll be a part of it. He would not have, you started him on this, you know. And this is a very proud cantor here. And all of us who know him, very proud. But there's one other group of people that's just as proud, and it's right here. Mom and aunt and sister and dad, we're glad you're here. And I know you will join me in this. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha Shalom v'yasem lecha V'yasem lecha shalom, shalom, shalom. I think I'm done.
Well, good evening and Shabbat Shalom. It is such an honor to spend this Shabbat and this weekend with all of you as we honor and bestow blessing on this new era in Temple Sinai's history. And I thank all who are joining with me, with my family and dear friends to celebrate this weekend. I'm grateful to have my parents, Murray and Sharon, my sister Lisa, and my Aunt Carol here with me from Chicago, my guest cantor and longtime friend and mentor, Cantor David Sirkin-Poole from Seattle, and my dear friend Michael Sumagi from Southern California, who's gracing me not only with his presence, but also with his beautiful violin playing, as you've heard tonight. I also got an amazing surprise. It's not written down in my speech because I didn't know about it, but my dear friends, Emily Malinowski-Ekman and Mr. Andy, the foodie, are here from Brooklyn, and thank you for that amazing surprise. I did a dance in the hallway. All right. Thank you to all of our temple staff, to my clergy partner, Rabbi Fellman, to who I have the honor of working alongside and leading this wonderful, wonderful community, and to everyone who has played a part in organizing and making this weekend so extra special with everything we have tonight and everything to come. It has been over 12 years since I last shared remarks like this at an installation, so it's an interesting thing to think about when you're writing a speech like this. It's really unlike anything else, and that was all the way back in 2011 at my former congregation in Santa Ana, California. And interestingly enough, even though today I would say I'm a very different person and cantor than I was back then, I actually share similar thoughts in my reflection on this moment. I will share with you that as you come to know me, you will learn that I am one who really likes to be prepared and to have a plan in place for everything I do. Part of it is likely the focused musician within me that drives me to have a solid vision and plan. My mom often shares a story of when I was applying for colleges, and I visited what became my first and only interest in schools to attend, the School of Music at Indiana University. Walking away from my first tour there and just so inspired by the opportunities it offered, she asked me, "What if you don't get into IU?" What is your plan B? Well, my answer, which I don't entirely recall saying, was plan B is plan A. I will say luck and success prevailed, and I had a wonderful education and time studying at IU, which very much prepared me for my musical path ahead. When I think back on my journey and path as a cantor over these past 17 years, I will say that the cantorial life is sometimes a winding and wandering path. I found that each and every time I moved to a new position, that the process of finding that new position, it works this way also on the cantorial side for us, it was a bit of an uncharted adventure, often with a lot of unpredictability. Now you see, as one who likes to plan, this may seem like a tough road. But I also want to share with you that I truly believe in the idea of things being besheret and being meant to be, because every path I have taken as a cantor has been the one I was meant to be on. Every amazing relationship and connection I have ever made has been one that has felt absolutely essential to me. My very first time coming here to Pittsburgh was actually when I was interviewing here just over a year ago last February, and some of you, I only saw you in a box on Zoom from Drew's office. So since then, I have created bonds with so many of you, and if we haven't yet met and really got to know each other, come on down and let's have an afternoon tea. I would love to hear your stories and get to know you. Moving through this year of transition, I'm feeling more and more at home in this new city of mine, one that has just an incredible Jewish community and so many inspiring things to offer. Quite often, life steers us in the direction we are meant to go, whether we know this or not, and whether we call this God's will, fate, karma, or the direction for us written in the stars. These paths and all of their blessings and their challenges teach us life's lessons. We can count the ways these moments have changed us, and hopefully for the better. I am ever grateful to be your cantor and have loved all of the moments we have made just over the past 9 months, and I know that we have so much more to share together in the future. I wish us much blessing and beautiful harmony. Shabbat Shalom. It is now my absolute pleasure to invite Cantor Sirkin Poole, Michael Sumagi, and Ellen Keeney to join with me on this blessing in song, L'Dor Vador by Josh Nelson.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last.
L'dor vador nagid godelecha. L'dor vador we protect this chain. From generation to generation, L'dor vador, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our hearts, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are blessed and we are holy. We are children of your way. and the words that bring us a meaning, we will have the strength to say. Lidor vador nagid god alecha, Lidor vador we protect this chain. From generation to generation, Lidor vador, these lips will praise your name. Lidor vador nagid god lecha, Lidor vador we protect this chain. From generation to generation, Lidor vador, these lips will praise your name.
Can I just say, I want to especially thank Rabbi Miller and Cantor Serkenpool for being with us this weekend. You and your remarks, you've made this just a very special weekend for us, even more special. So thank you for that. The two musical interludes were a preview, I think, of the music after Havdalah tomorrow night, so I know you'll all be back for that. Our next speakers, two will be by video. I'm apparently, since we're using sports analogy, I'm doing the play-by-play tonight. Represent the wider community of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And all of them, I know, believe in the inscription outside our door, which says, "Our house shall be called a house of prayer for all peoples." Please note we're doing the two videos first, and then that'll be by Rabbi Rick Jacobs and Wasi Muhammad, and then Dr. Asa Lee in person, and then our leadership chairs, Lynn and Dale Lazar, will have a brief presentation. So while we run the videos, Dr. Lee, maybe you can join me and we can watch them together.
What a joy it is for me to be with you this night, to celebrate this remarkable congregation, literally going from strength to strength. I was privileged to be a part of Rabbi Jamie Gibson's last year of celebration, and what an impact, what a tenure. And tonight to celebrate two new religious leaders of your congregation, what a blessing. Rabbi Daniel Feldman, he was the rabbi in Syracuse at Temple Concord. I was privileged to be there, to hear his vision and his wisdom. You are blessed indeed. And Cantor David Reinwald, you were the cantor in many places, but including my home congregation in Santa Ana, California, Temple Beth Shalom. And I know the impact that you have had. You each bring such remarkable spiritual gifts that you will share freely with this congregation. To be installed on Parashat Vayikra is, I believe, a blessing. It's a reminder that we have never stopped changing for millennia. We read in the Parsha this week about the animal sacrifices that were the backbone of our spiritual practice once upon a time. And look at us today. It's a reminder that religious leaders are not only supposed to keep the ways that we have known, but to chart new ways and to be able to lead us forward from this moment. There's so much to celebrate, so much good to do, and there is always adapting to the new circumstances. So Rabbi Feldman and Cantor Reinwald, have the love and support of your Reform movement. Your URJ celebrates with you this night, but know as well that you will take our people forward and experience new ways of doing the holiest work that we know over these last millennia. May the Holy One smile down upon you today, tomorrow, and every day. Mazal Tov.
Assalamu alaikum. May the peace and blessings of God be upon all of you on this blessed day in this blessed month. On behalf of the Muslim community and Congresswoman Summer Lee, I wanted to extend a warm welcome to Rabbi Feldman and Cantor Reinwald. I am excited for the community because I've heard great things about both of you, but I'm especially excited for you to join such a wonderful congregation. Temple Sinai holds a very special place in my heart. Almost a decade of memories, most very joyous, others painful, but we were always together. I know many leaders before me in the Muslim community who could say the exact same thing. These long-standing relationships, this togetherness, is exactly why we love this city. This love is the foundation of our region. Shout out to Rabbi Gibson for maintaining that relationship for many years, and we are excited to build this relationship with you both as well. I am so glad you and the teens got to visit us in Washington, D.C. in person. I wish I was there today to spend this time with you. I would be if I could. But I'll be rushing back to Pittsburgh as soon as I can to visit because I can't wait to continue this beautiful tradition for another generation. Again, congratulations. Welcome. We're so excited to work with you. Take it easy. Assalamu alaikum.
Good evening. I am the Reverend Dr. Asa Lee, and I serve as the president of Pittsburgh Theological Seminary. And like you, Rabbi Feldman, I came to Pittsburgh in the summer of 2021. So it is not entirely accurate that I welcome you, as we both were unpacking boxes around the same time. However, in the short time that I have been here, I've discovered Pittsburgh to be a city of neighborhoods. But in recent years, a city of neighborhoods in need of more neighbors. I'm grateful to welcome you on behalf of the brothers and sisters of the Christian communities that make up the city of Pittsburgh, and on behalf of the many graduates, students, faculty, staff, board, and so many others that make up the community that is Pittsburgh Theological Seminary. Like one of our most famous graduates, Fred Rogers, class of 1961, the importance of neighbor is not lost on us in this season. And indeed, a part of our shared heritage is the theology of being a good neighbor. And so I want to represent, on behalf of this community, the Pittsburgh Seminary community, to the Temple Sinai community, to you, Rabbi Feldman, Cantor Reinwald. I pray that we might be neighbors, that we might grow together, that we might wrestle together, that we might converse, and another common theological shared tenet, that we might break bread together. And in so doing, learn the value of being a neighbor, and live out the value of being neighborly in a city of neighborhoods. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom again. I guess you know by now that I'm Lynn and Dale Lazar. And I can actually begin by repeating what I said as chair of the search committee, and that is, thank you, Temple Sinai. Dale and I are really grateful for the opportunity to play a part in this creation of this celebratory weekend. Temple Sinai is such an important part of our lives, and so when the chance to give back and rejoice in this momentous occasion presented itself, we said yes, absolutely yes. And then we had the amazing opportunity to speak with so many members of our family of families, each of whom stepped up, came forward to join us to help this awesome community and this awesome and very special event happen. So thank you to all of our donors. We're very appreciative.
Here at Temple Sinai, we have something that is doubly ideal, has unique attributes, provides vital nourishment, and will jointly thrive in our Temple Sinai community. Sorry, this is neither a rabbi nor a cantor. These are two pawpaw trees, a gift from our congregation, graciously provided by Sestili Nursery to honor the installation of Rabbi Dan Feldman and Cantor David Reinwald. Pawpaw trees are beautiful, produce a delicious fruit, and will thrive at Temple Sinai. Rabbi Dan Feldman and Cantor David Reinwald, you are both extraordinarily talented, exceedingly capable, generously engaging, and warmly caring. In fact, one might say you are gifts from heaven. One might also say you are a match made in heaven. Lynn and I know the two pawpaw trees will serve as an enduring tribute to our dynamic duo as Temple Sinai embarks on a future that is bright with possibility. Can you come up, please?
These are not actually the trees, don't panic. You do not have to plant them or water them, but it is a token and a symbol of the two trees that will be planted here and will thrive and grow. As we know, we will all thrive and grow with both of you. Thank you.
No football?
Thank you, Dylan, for that and for your continual leadership. And thank you again to all of our participants in the service. It was really wonderful. I have the honor now to introduce Rabbi Jamie Gibson, who led our congregation as senior rabbi for 32 years and is now a rabbi emeritus. It's especially fitting, therefore, that he lead us in a Shehekianu, which captures the idea of bringing us to a new season, building on his long time here and of everything that has gone before. Rabbi. I'm going to hold the mic. Other duties as assigned.
How many times have you seen me with this guitar? Cantors, rabbis, join me. The Shehechianu is the prayer that we say in reaching a special, happy occasion. We thank God for giving us life, sustaining us, and allowing us to reach this wonderful occasion. If you know the tune, we do it often here. Please join in and please surround so we can get surround sound.
All right.
And if you don't know the words, the last word is Amen. I think we know that one. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu b'zman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. You do the harmonies. You're the cantors. Shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu b'zman hazeh. Amen. Last time. Great note.
Okay. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you to the guitar as well. Not sure you wanted me singing with that group, but there you have it. Thank you again to everybody. Just a few reminders. Right after this, there's a glorious oneg outside. Havdalah tomorrow will be followed, as we mentioned, by an amazing concert. Sunday is a day of Tikkun Olam, healing the world on food insecurity with our next door religious school, parents, members of the community, including from our neighbors at Church of the Redeemer, some of whom were here this evening. Reminder that the auction is open through Sunday. And, instead of announcements from the Bima, they're at your seat. And so I want to close by thanking so many people, those who provided auction items, those who provided financial support, as Lynn said, those who originally helped find our Rabbi and Cantor, those who worked on the committee to organize this weekend, all of those people. There are 3 pages in your program, and our volunteers and, as some people have said, our amazing staff who just work tirelessly and are, as noted, hiding in the back. So I'll now turn it back to the Rabbi and Cantor. We go back to our regularly scheduled program. And thank you all for being here.
Just for the record, our normal Friday night services are a hair shorter than this one. We turn back to our prayer books to page 282. I invite everyone to rise in body or spirit for Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, l'atzei gidula liyotzeh b'reshit, shelo asanu kigoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu koreim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. We take a moment now to recall those who came before us, those who gave us life, those who joined together to create this holy congregation. As you hear the name of your loved one mentioned, we invite you to rise. We recall those whose yahrzeit occurs in the coming days: Shirley Alexander, Sidney Baker, Shirley Baskin, Esther Blitz, Bernice Block, Melvin Bodek, Walter Boninger, Faye Chapman, Shirley Paulimus Cochran, Libby S. Cohen, Francis Denmark, Albert Edelson, Rena Edinger, Laura Garfinkel, Ida Gelman, Bert Horwitz, Elmer Judd, Bernard A. Kelsky, Charles Lewis Klein, Barney Kotler, Helen Sherman Latterman, Martin R. Lehman, Etta Lutzker, Maxine Marcus, Dorothy Melnick, Israel Myers, Benjamin Michelevich, Samuel Don Moll, Bernice Oringer, Ida Littman Porter, Lena Pratt, Monty Ritblatt, Alan Rosen, Pearl Baskin Sadowski, Ira Sadowski, Janice Schachter, Byron Bernard Schiller, Frida E. Pratt Schneider, Josie Pfeiffer Schwartz, John M. Schumacher, Sidney Small, Ralph Salo, Sam Salo, Harry R. Stein, Sam Stein, Erwin S. Turner, Carol S. Weil, Faye B. Weinberger, Bernard Bernie Weiss, Bernard Weiner, Marion Witt. And to those names, we add the names of those taken from us only in recent weeks: Fanny Faye Neft and Alfred Klein. We invite the entire congregation to rise now as one, as we join together in the words of the Mourner's Kaddish found on page 294. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach Yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach le'alam l'omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kudashah b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, da'miran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God grant comfort to all the bereaved among us, and together we say, amen. Our thanks again on behalf of Cantor Reinwald to all of you who made this possible and all of you with whom we're sharing the Bima this evening. Thank you all for being here. We'll be back here next week. We hope you will be too.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom Ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
But I have one short announcement, or my friend John will shoot me. At the end, could people who participated in service please come up for pictures? Right? Okay. Thank you.
Join us for Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron le'maaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tehila le'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, ki banu bacharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava u'b'ratzon, inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
And we join together in the motzi. Who wants the knife? It's all yours. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Take a little piece. Here, take some.
Anybody want some challah? Got some challah?
Okay, tell me a joke.
How were we on?
Did I hear Alabama lost?
Really?